So this episode opens with Hoshi and Travis. We're on the bridge, and Travis is sitting there looking at the screen, a picture of a Earth-like planet, and he was just so excited because he wants to find out what happened to those colonists on Terra Nova. If the family members that were still left on Earth, if there were any, which I'm assuming there probably was, why couldn't they have gone and petitioned? I don't know if it was Starfleet, but let's just say United Earth.
There's no Admiral Paris equivalent to be like.
Yeah,
no one was important enough to be like, "Where's my son?"
Yeah. Special thanks to our Patreon executive producer, Jonathan Capps, and our Patreon associate producers, Chris Knapp and Mark Zutkoff. Your leadership support helps keep the Transporter Room running at warp speed. And to all of our Patreon members at every level, we truly appreciate you. Your support helps power every episode, interview, and away mission. We couldn't do this without you. Greetings, everyone. I'm your host, Chris Garis, and welcome to the Transporter Room. We're continuing our episode review series for Star Trek Enterprise. Joining me on this journey is my amazing co-host, Rachel Bloom, who will be exploring each episode alongside me. Today, we're diving into Terra Nova. So without further ado, let's beam Rachel in. Hey, Rachel.
Hey.
How are you doing today? It's been a while.
Good.
Haven't seen you.
God, life has been busy. Mostly like boring work. How dare I need to pay bills?
I know. They want our bill money, and so it is life. Mm-hmm. We don't live in that future part where they don't have money yet.
Yeah, hurry up. I need there.
Me too. Well, as I was saying, today we are going to be reviewing Terra Nova. It's more of a recap review is really how they've been going. And so Terra Nova aired October 24th, 2001. It was directed by LeVar Burton, and the teleplay was by Antoinette Stella, and the story was by Rick Berman and Brandon Braga. What were you doing in October 24th of 2001?
October of 2021. I think I just moved to San Antonio. I would have because now I'm thinking of other events that happened in the fall of 2021.
2001.
Sorry, no, I was trying to like other events that happened in the fall of 2001 are not great.
Exactly.
But I lived in like San Antonio, Texas, and I was in second grade. That's why I don't remember super well.
Okay. Enough said there.
I remember that. I remember the big event from September, but I don't.
Same here.
My birthday's at the beginning of November, so I was probably getting excited about that. But we had like just moved somewhere, and we were like, our house wasn't fitted. They didn't finish building our house as soon as they said. So we were like in an apartment that we were paying way too much money for because they were like, "Will you give us a 3-month lease for a lot of money?"
Oh yeah, that's funny.
I only know that as an adult. My mom told me we were paying too much for that apartment. I didn't know that then, but
well, that's funny because yes, I was at work. Well, yeah. I'd been at work that day, and then I came home and probably watched this episode after it came out.
Yeah.
Oh my God, that's too funny.
It's funny because people will be like, "You didn't watch Enterprise?" I'll be like, "I cannot stress how young I was."
Yeah.
Because I started watching Star Trek in like 2006, which I was in like 6th grade then. So like that's a normal amount of like when to like start watching Star Trek at like 12.
Well, that November, I would be 25 when it's. So yeah.
I love making people feel old. I'm sorry.
Yeah. I almost want to just edit this
Take
whole
out.
scene out.
You asked what I was doing, and I was like, I was a child.
I know. Hey, it's okay. It's comic relief
Yeah.
for the Patreons and the YouTubers, which is all good. Oh my gosh. So so this episode opens with Hoshi and Travis we're on the bridge and Travis is sitting there looking at the screen, a picture of a Earth-like planet. Um, and he was just so excited about because he wants to find out what happened to those colonists on
Mhm.
Terra Nova because it's been a mystery for quite a long time, as we learned further out in the episode. And, I liked how, when Archer comes out and he asks, how long before you get there, he tells him, 3 hours and like 17 minutes. And Hoshi's like, so do you think they're a captain? And he's like, I'll tell you in 3 hours and
Yeah.
17
Yeah.
minutes.
He's like, I don't know. That's why we're checking.
And so then after that, we have the Enterprise credits. So, what is your opinion on the credits, real quick?
I think I've been like, God, once I think they've grown on me.
Mm-hmm.
And that I'm like, this is still so weird. And it kind of catches me off guard every time.
Mm-hmm.
It has the same vibe to me as the end credits for The West Wing, which are
Mm-hmm.
too upbeat for the tone of the show most of the time. And you're just like, right, I forgot about this.
Oh, that's
But I remember someone on Twitter was watching Enterprise for the first time, and they're like, "What is this theme song?" We're like, "It grows on you." He was like Stockholm syndrome, and I was like, "Yes."
oh God. Yeah. No. Yeah, I don't hate it.
I
It's
don't.
not,
I don't think
it's not your typical, but it's not,
I don't think it's a bad song.
yeah,
I think the vibe, like the mood, doesn't fit the show a lot of the time,
true.
which is like my main problem with like the West Wing was where it was like the most serious thing in the world has happened, and then it's like
Hmm.
a delightful jaunty tune.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's, they were doing stuff differently.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it is what it is. We can't fix it. It's been 25
Yeah,
years.
I will
So,
say for the Western one, I believe ads played in between those ending and when the credits would play, so I think that's why they're like that. But when you're watching it on
gotcha.
streaming, it just goes right into them.
Hmm. Well, so after the
Yeah.
opening
Yeah.
credits, we're taken to the captain's dining hall or dining room where Paul and Trip are talking about. Well, they're asked to Paul if she's ever heard of Terra Nova, and she's like, "No, I haven't." And Trip is just like, "How is that possible?" Because every kid on Earth had to learn about the Vulcan expeditions. But I love what she did to him. She's like, "Name one."
Yeah, it's funny because like Trip is like, I was like, I don't think I learned about French expeditions, for instance, or like I like we learned about British ones because that
Makes sense.
colonized America. I think I was vaguely aware. I think it was just kind of like, well, they speak like a version of French in Canada. I'm gonna guess,
Yeah.
but like, so no, I was like, it wouldn't shock me that like, I think I learned more about what other countries colonized what other parts of the world as an adult than I did as a child.
Yeah. Well, and I just loved how when he was trying to, catch her there and she just turned around and threw it right back in his face. We're starting the whole to Paul trip,
Yeah,
tryst
I
or whatever you want to call it.
um it would be interesting now because, like, obviously, I think we talked about this a little before we started on the mic. This is like they're obviously doing something with like the Roanoke like colony
Hmm.
disappearing, and I was like, I doubt people who aren't American know about Roanoke.
Probably not.
Like,
You're probably right.
and like, if someone asked, I'd probably be like, oh, it was a colony and everyone disappeared, and so it's like a mystery what happened to them.
Hmm.
But
Exactly.
although it's clear that it was like clear like they either were killed or integrated with Native Americans, right? Like, there's like,
We'll never know.
yeah.
We'll never know. Well, as the meal continues, Archer's explaining to Paul mainly that this was called the Great Experiment because humanity at this time had colonized Mars, colonized the moon, and had I think Jupiter station at that time, but we'd never actually gone outside of our solar system. And then when they found the planet Terra Nova that was within 20 light years, they were like, we got to do it. Typical, is typical for I think for humanity to want to go out and do something like that, to be honest with you.
Oh no, it totally is. I have. Okay, so the Terra Nova is used in so much fiction stuff like those words. It is also a standardized test, and it's the one used by the Department of Defense schools. So every time I hear the
Oh,
word Terra Nova, my brain is also like, "Oh my god, those tests! That's not what we're talking about." Like,
no, you're lucky.
yeah, same thing with that TV show that was called Terra
Mhm.
Nova. Anytime, so I'm just like, I don't know why those tests are called New Earth because that's what Terra Nova means, but
Mhm.
or New
Yeah.
Land, something like that.
Yeah. And I was surprised how long, well, I guess I shouldn't have been.
Mhm.
They said it took 9 years there and 9 years back. Of course,
Yeah,
obviously, we only had low warp vessels at that time.
yeah,
But then, he's still explaining, he's still telling the story is that, there had been no contact in 70 years because,
mhm.
you know, they wanted to send, as he was telling, they wanted to send another group of explorers out there, colonists out there. Um, and they were like, there was a faction that
Yeah,
did not want any more people to be out there. Um, and of course, our Vulcan to Paul,
mhm.
and she had a valid point.
Yeah.
She goes, well, why didn't they ask for assistance? Why didn't Earth ask the Vulcans for assistance?
Mhm.
And I like Trip's answer because, well, usually when you ask the Vulcans for help, it's at a high price.
Yeah. I was like, I always have to remember. I was like, oh yeah, Vulcans on Enterprise are kind of assholes. Like
Yeah,
often.
yeah. If you were to rewatch our review, kind of a broken bow,
Hmm.
yeah, they were, yeah. There's a lot of, Alice and I had a lot of discussions about the Vulcans and Enterprise, and
Yeah.
especially that episode because they are like that. And,
Hmm.
um, but anyway, as typical, we didn't ask for the help, and so we lost contact with this colony. Of course, also we need it to make it for this next episode.
Yeah.
Um, finally, the Enterprise enters orbit over the colony. Standard issue. Hoshi's trying to hail them, no answer. Of course, there's no one there. Um, and of course, the sensors did not detect any biosigns, but they do find low levels of radiation. Um, as I've said in some other reviews, I'm not surprised the sensors didn't detect the biosigns because the sensors, if you watch Star Trek, and I think I've said this once before in something else, they just don't work half the time.
No, because for the plot, they need to not.
Yeah.
It's like like if you know if you're going to spend an episode on the holodeck, it's going to be broken.
True. Very
I
true.
Although my theory is that for most Star Trek shows, um there's actually weeks in between episodes, but nothing is happening. It's just an average time, everything's fine. So they use the holodeck all the time and it's fine. But it's boring if we watch that. So
It's exactly right.
yeah.
Now, and as they are scanning the planet, they do, they zoom in and they can see that the colony is actually fully intact. So,
Yeah.
now the mystery is really intriguing them even
Mhm.
more
And this is what
because
made me
it's,
oh, it's Rhoda, because I was like, everything's still there.
yeah, exactly. And so he gets the away team and he leaves Trip in charge of the ship. And I made a comment today in a live chat for the Broken Bow. Um, we were talking about why Trip always gets left on the ship and never on the away teams and whatnot. It's because or flying the shuttle pods because he tends to hit things with the shuttle pods, like the starship itself,
Yeah.
the Suliban, helix. And so yeah, I made a comment. He's a better engineer than pilot. So, but after they leave, they get the away team, and they start making their way down to the planet, and they finally land. And actually, it's a decent sized group. It's Archer, Malcolm, T'Pol, and Travis, and they're
What I was saying?
scanning.
I was like, oh, they gave Travis something to do in an episode. Thank God. Like,
Well,
am
you
I?
couldn't leave him on the ship with his. I mean, they could because that's
Yeah.
what they always did, but not for this one.
Yeah.
He loves the history of this, that mystery.
I also love that the term they use, like the term that we're gonna use for people who grew up in space is boomers, and I hope that
Yeah.
has no other meaning in about 30 years.
Yeah. Well, and that's true. I should have said that earlier. He did,
Yeah.
he at the opening, he's talking about, he feels like this was really a big thing for people who were like him, who were boomers and lived off world.
It's funny because I've always related to like this. There are like more closer to like military, but as a military brat, I think there's a relatability to me with boomers. It was like you lived not where you're from.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. For you
Yeah.
you were all over the place. You were a boomer.
Yeah,
According to Enterprise.
somehow a millennial and a boomer. Everyone hates me. It's great.
Yeah. Well, as they're scanning the planet, T'Pol, detects the radiation. She detects the radiation and says those levels 70 years ago would have been lethal. So now again they're wondering, where did everybody go?
Yeah. Well, because they're like, where
did
are
they
the
move?
bodies? Like, if they're all just if they just came and a bunch of people were dead from radiation, they would still be there.
Yeah. Or
Well, part of them would still be there.
Part of them. Yeah. So again, we still don't know where they're at. And so then we, cut off to Malcolm, who is, walking through the forest, and being Malcolm, he hears something and realizes that, oh wait, there are people on the planet. And so he freaking starts chasing after the unknown person or thing. I'm gonna say thing because we don't know what it is yet, but the unknown thing. And he follows it to the cave, and the way team finally gets to that cave, and they're scanning it and looking through, and I can finally, or they come under attack from the locals. They're actually getting shot at, which I always loved the fact that they're actually using guns, actual bullets.
Yeah.
Instead of, well, they didn't really have phase pistols probably or anything like that back 70 years ago. So they're actually taking fire from projectiles. And of course, during all of that, Malcolm gets freaking shot in the leg. Poor guy. Poor Malcolm. He gets shot in the leg, and they freaking haul butt back to the shuttlecraft and leave, because they're sitting there, they can't do anything about it. And so, I mean, I felt bad. I mean, I really did feel bad for Reed being left on the planet, but
yeah, I was like, gotta go.
There's not a lot they could do about it because.
I was like, at least there's like the tactical guy. It's like, okay, this is part of his job description. Although it was funny when at first they're like the aliens, and I was like, those are clearly human beings. Like, to me, I don't know. I found it obvious they were obviously humans that had lived there a while.
Yeah. Well, and of course, if you looked at how they looked with all the stuff on them, I mean, it was hard to tell. I mean, they were humans, but you weren't sure what type of humans they were, honestly. I think. But
yeah.
So, we make it back to Enterprise. Of course, Archer is freaking just livid. And now the sensors are magically working because Trip and Hoshi find the colonists and are able to determine Reed's location.
I was like, how did they do that?
You know, they actually
like,
never
okay,
explain it, I don't think, on this episode.
no, the sensors got better, I guess. I was just like,
Yeah, I
did
don't
I
know.
miss something? Like,
Exactly. All right, so now we're back to Enterprise, and the away team is back. They make it into. I finally learned on this episode. Maybe I just read the captions for the first time, even though I have captions on all the time, because I could not. I wasn't sure what that area where they're looking at the sensors and stuff. That's called the Situation Room, because I could not. I was
the
trying to
White
figure what
House.
that. Yeah, and
I'm
so
gonna keep bringing up West Wing for some reason.
apparently. So Trip and Hoshi are in the situation area, and lo and behold, they find the colonists now. Sensors are working.
I genuinely did. I thought I missed something. I was like, when did they start working again? How could they find them now? Maybe
and
this is my. I'm gonna retcon it to make it make sense. Reed has something on him that makes it like easier to read him. Does it make sense? No, but it will bother me.
Yeah. Now, well, and no, because I'm sitting here trying to think, could they have already uploaded to Paul's telemetry from her tricorder? Maybe.
That's something.
I mean, I don't know, but again, all of a sudden now they can find all the colonists and they can find Malcolm. Of course, he's too deep.
Yeah.
And they can't beam him out, because obviously if they did that, then the episode's over. So can't do that.
Bye, those people are crazy.
Yeah, really. Hey crew, Chris Garis here. First off, thank you for beaming into the transporter room and supporting the channel. Since day one, our merch shop has been part of the mission. And as you can see here, we've got some great gear available right now, including our Enterprise 25th anniversary designs. And trust me, this is just the beginning. More drops are already in the transporter buffer. If you like what you're seeing, head to thetransporterroom.net/shop and check it out for yourself. And don't forget, every Patreon member at every level gets a discount on all merch. It's an easy way to support the channel, rep the crew, and take the transporter with you on your own away missions. All right, let's get back to it. And I liked, it was interesting, when they're, obviously they're discussing, how we're going to get him back and all this. And I think if I remember, it was DePaul, or one of them said, stun grenades. And he just looks at them like, are you freaking kidding me? He's like, absolutely not. He's not going to do an outright assault on these. And I don't blame him, because, and he has a valid point. He says, if I can't negotiate with humans, I have no business being out here.
Because I could not tell in their shootout, like that Reed got shot during, who shot first?
Yeah. They did, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay, for a second I thought Reed had it. I was like, what the hell, dude?
No, I don't think he did. I think no, I don't think he did. I think they shot first, like Han.
Yeah. I'm fine. I'm fine with the hero shooting first. Han shot first.
Yep. Well, as obviously they know he's been injured, and so Archer's like, I'm not going to assault. We're going to go back down there. So him and Phlox go back down on the planet, hopefully to be able to, rescue, Lieutenant Reed, and figure out what the hell's going on.
Yeah.
And I liked how they did it. The typical. He comes out there. Hey, we're not armed. We're here
armed. But put that down real quick.
Yeah, we're not armed. We're just basically here to help and get our man. And I liked how when he's got his arms up, Phlox looks at him and like, oh, I need to get mine up too. Because the Noblians don't know anything about that.
Yeah.
And so the colonists, I'm gonna still call them the colonists because we haven't gotten their names yet.
Yeah.
At this point, but the colonists.
I like how cobbly Phlox was able to explain who he was. To be like,
I know. Yeah, he was like, because they come and they take him into the caves, and I mean, Phlox is just, I'm a doctor, I'm here. He wasn't even like phased by it.
He's the one who
And
spent the most time with people who don't look like him.
true.
So he's
And
like,
that actually probably helped
yeah,
him.
he's like, slightly different looking humans. Hello.
Yeah. Well, actually, I think they even asked, "What is that?"
Yeah.
And that's when he explains, "I'm a Denoblian," and so on and so on.
And it's because I was googling I was looking at the Memory Alpha episode. Sorry, the Memory Alpha for this episode. Is this the first time they say the word Denoblian?
No, I don't think so.
I thought
no, because they talk about it in Broken Bow. He's a Denoblian scientist. So I'm pretty sure.
Okay, you talk. I'll try to find like what it was saying on Memory Alpha. Maybe I was confused.
And now we actually officially meet the Novans for the first time. And because that's what they call themselves, or that's what they're called. The Novans.
I'll say, according to Memory Alpha, it says this is the first episode to name Fox's species on screen Denoblian.
All right. Well,
and that seems odd to me that they didn't, when they were introducing him, they wouldn't be like, he is a Denoblian.
I'm gonna go with that, but I don't.
That's why I was like, you were the one who just recently rewatched Broken Bow. That's why I was like, I'm confused.
Yeah.
It's been, I've seen Broken Bow, obviously, but it's been a while.
Yeah, we're gonna let it stay with that, but I'm gonna have to double check that.
I'm like, Memory Alpha, I am confused. So if I guess other people, that I was like, that's why I would clarify. I was like, Memory Alpha says this.
Yeah.
I don't understand
I question
how that's possible.
Yeah, I'm questioning that one. So, and so now as we're, they're meeting and talking, excuse me, we learn why they were attacking them, because the Novans actually believe that the humans caused the poison rain that made everyone sick. Archer, he's standing there trying to explain it was some kind of irradiation. And I just thought,
was this just like a comet hit them or something?
Yes, that's what they find out. A comet, I think it was a comet hit them, or an asteroid, but they were all kids, and the Novan that was the male that was the primary speaker. He was born later on.
Yeah.
His mom, Nadette, was a child when they first got there. And so, he's telling them, and now I will say, I forgot, well, at this point in the episode, they do not know what it was, what actually caused it. They still don't know. We're about another 20 minutes down before we finally figure that out.
Yeah.
But I always wondered though, like, did they even understand what he was talking about? Like, do they even know what radiation is?
I don't know, because like they would obviously like learn some stuff as they get older, but like if no one's there to teach them.
Well, that's my thing. It's like, who was there to teach? And that gentleman's name is, the character's name is Jamin, which is played by Eric Avari.
And that was the actor that I was like looking at, because I was like, he's been on Star Trek before a couple times.
Oh, he's been in a lot of things. Yeah, he's very well known. And so I don't know. I'm going to let it fly for now, but he does tell them that they are descendants from the original colonists. Now, I like how
they don't seem to understand that the original colonists were humans.
Well, they do talk about that, that they believe that humans caused all of this and killed their go-befores. So they don't
seem to understand that go-before were also human.
Yeah. Or humans like them. I don't know.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you noticed or not, or if you've seen it when you last time watched it, you've seen that. I picked it up when I was watching one of these go-arounds today, is that Phlox is standing in the background. He's actually like scanning them. And I personally did not pick that up the very first few times I've ever watched this, but as I was getting ready for this, I'm like, I noticed he's scanning people, and he keeps it on Nadette, um, and says that she has lung cancer.
Mhm.
Um,
I love that they were like, lung cancer, that's easy to solve. And I was like, let me go to the future. Like,
yeah, yeah. I actually wrote down crazy that they can cure cancer in hours.
yeah.
Yeah, I'm like, yes, please, let's have that now.
As someone who currently, knows people being treated for cancer, I was like, excuse me, please give. Like, please give
Yeah.
me that.
Well, and I lost my mother to the
Yeah.
ovarian cancer, so yeah,
Uh,
absolutely.
yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, I would have loved to have. I'd love to have that technology now, or
Hmm.
4 years ago, almost 4 years ago. Uh, so, and after a while, they finally convince, Archer and Phlox are finally able to convince
Hmm.
Jamin to let them take his mother along with him up to
Hmm.
the Enterprise to be cured or to be treated.
Yeah.
Um, and so, I like, they go up there, they're in the shuttlecraft, which once again, I just now thought about this. Surprisingly, they didn't seem to be too scared about being in a flying vessel.
Yeah. She was really scared of the MRI like machine.
Oh God, yes.
To me,
So,
like, which I thought was appropriate. If you didn't know what an MRI was, like, I've had to like once been in something similar to that. Turned out to be a kidney stone, and they were scanning
mhm.
to be like to be like, is it kidney stone or appendicitis? Because became clear it was one of the two.
Yeah. Well, you're right.
And I understood what it was, and I was like, this is weird. Like,
Yeah, no, she went freaking
mhm.
bizarre. She went batshit
Although
crazy in there.
what I find
Understandable.
interesting is a lot of the reason that people like kind of find those weird is claustrophobia. I was like, you live in caves. You can't be that claustrophobic.
Ooh, that's a good one. It's a good point.
Like,
You know.
you can't like. I would imagine the wide open spaces would be. I feel like they'd be more likely to be agoraphobic than claustrophobic.
Mm-hmm. Huh. Well, I don't know. But It's a good.
Yeah,
It's a good premise. I wouldn't have never thought about
yeah.
that, but you're right. I mean, well, those were big caves, but still, it's
I
still
mean, those
confined.
there was there were some tight passages they were going through.
True. Yeah. Well, again, now and also now back to the whole cancer thing. I like how he says, he's scanning her to determine what type of cancer
Hmm.
she has and the type of medicines that he needs to
Yeah.
be synthesized. I'm like, ah, ah. Anyway, I'm not going to touch that one anymore. Um,
Mhm.
but I like, of course, Archer wants to pull up. He's going through the archives again. He's bringing up pictures from the original team.
Yeah.
Which one thing about Star Trek, their computers have like almost everything in them.
Yeah.
I've noticed almost, except for like the Bell riots. I think there was limited
Yeah.
information about that, but they've also made comments in other episode series about there were some issues back then, but still, I always laugh how
I
when
will
they
say it does if it does make sense that the people they were sending to Terra Nova, they would document it a lot to be like they
true,
were in the news. This
hmm
family is going.
yeah, and you're right, and
Yeah.
I just always again it just makes me think though how
I
convenient it
because
always seems to work out.
now I'm like because I keep comparing it to the Roanoke thing. I imagine she's like how Virginia Dare because she was the first person like first colonist like English colonist born there.
Hmm.
Uh, like that became like a big thing.
Hmm. Yeah.
Um, and I'm not gonna talk more because some people use that for like white supremacist stuff with Virginia Dare, which I learned today while googling stuff. So I was like, oh, I don't want to talk more about that. Just like
Yeah, we need to stay.
the premise of that of like
We'll steer clear of
yeah.
that.
But the
um,
premise of like, oh, the children being born, or like
yeah,
same with like in Star Trek, like Naomi Waldman being the first child born on
on Starship. Yep,
yeah,
on Voyager, the only one. But
yeah, yeah. If people weren't getting busy enough. Hey, wait. Tom and Milana, the baby was born on that ship.
oh, that's right. At the
Yeah.
very end.
Hmm.
Oh, we may be giving spoilers, but oh well. If you
I
haven't seen it by now,
we
sorry.
should. If
I'm
you're
like,
not,
I'm sorry.
Spoilers for how old is that episode?
30 years?
Yeah,
Well, give or take.
give or
Yeah.
take 30 years.
Yeah. Yeah. So 30 years since the series came out. But yes,
Yeah,
23 years old,
something
give or
like
so.
that.
But yeah, anyway, so after they're done in the sick bay, um, they go back to the bridge, and they've obviously again been scanning the planet, and T'Pol finds that an asteroid actually impacted an asteroid impact from about 70 years ago, which is
Mhm.
what caused all the radiation problems. Um,
And
so
did they so they think the asteroid was a weapon sent by them. And you
correct.
think they like somehow sent an asteroid? They just didn't realize it was an asteroid. That was like
So
I'm
the
so confused by that.
yeah, and I think I'll get a little bit more, but yeah, basically, and it's hurting my brain
Yeah.
honestly because how did the colonists, and hopefully other people will answer this, um
Like why did they think Earth sent it?
yeah, well, how did they not know there was an asteroid? I guess they didn't. I'm trying to remember. They probably didn't see it, but still,
Yeah.
you would have thought they would have seen that coming streaking through the sky,
Mhm.
because even though
Although
it
maybe they
hit
saw it and thought it was like a torpedo.
some sort of a weapon.
Yeah.
That's all we can leave it at that. They thought it was some sort of a weapon, which obviously turned out to be an asteroid that hit the planet. Um, Now, I do like this next grouping of scenes here because we're back on the planet, and Malcolm is sitting there. He's laying there trying to have some small talk with the Novan
Yeah.
that is guarding him, um, and
I was like, no one
and
really taught these people how to speak, so good luck with that,
yeah.
Reed.
Well, and he, of course, being Malcolm, he's like, "Isn't that like a MK-34
Yeah.
or is that the 37?"
Ooh,
He's asking.
guns. Like
Exactly. That's what I said here. Reed knows his guns. Again, armory officer. I would hope he would know his guns.
yeah.
Um, you know, and then he's sitting there watching the Novan eat, and he asks him, "What is that?" And he's like, "That's digger meat." Um, and he's like, "What he says, your belly empty or something like that?" And he's like, well, yeah, I'm kind of hungry.
I did like,
And
is your belly empty for are you hungry?
empty. Yeah,
Yeah.
belly empty. That was a good one. And so
I did
he,
actually like how they'd be like, they know English, but like we're taught by only the children survived.
true.
And then they like just going off of like what they had learned.
Hmm. And I'm surprised, and that makes, I remember watching this, like that's what they, you got to think they probably had I don't know, I don't even think they tell you how old she was. You're
Yeah.
probably talking maybe
She looked like 8 in that photo.
yeah,
At
you're
most.
talking a maybe out of all of
Yeah.
the children, I would say, you may have some early preteens I mean, we don't know this, but there had to have
Well,
been
if they're saying that it's like it didn't affect them because they were so young, I honestly think like I probably would have like in my head I would imagine it's like before puberty.
more than likely, probably so.
Yeah.
And so, but anyway, so as they're, he gives Malcolm some of the digger meat, and I love, he goes, "Oh, a little undercooked," but then he proceeds to chow down on it because he actually
Oh,
liked it.
you gotta eat.
But he liked it. And then I really liked this next scene, and that music. Oh man, I can only imagine being in a cave where all of that would reverberate. Oh, but that actually,
God, it reminds me of like when people sing in like really old cathedrals that have really good acoustics.
mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, and even when you're in, I mean, not sung, but
Mhm.
I've gone into like Carlsbad Cavern and stuff like that, and so
Mhm.
it's pretty nice down there. But yeah, that was a great scene. Um, and it actually kind of calmed the whole mood down, I felt.
Mhm.
And I'm assuming those skulls were probably digger skulls that they were
Yeah.
using as instruments.
Look, they got what they got.
Yeah, exactly. Well, and so we go back to the ready room on Enterprise. And I like this. She's able to get the last transmission that was ever made by Captain Mitchell. And
he is pissed.
he is. And I mean, I almost wish, I don't know if I can do it. I'm going to think about it. I might try and actually play that little snippet when I do that, when we edit this episode, but we'll see.
It is interesting. I did like the idea that he was like, "Can you send a Vulcan ship if they weren't the ones who did this?"
Oh, I know.
I was like, I kind of get it with how the Vulcans have been acting on. Like, I don't think the Vulcans would do that. I don't think they would do that. But I get why other people would think they would.
So back in the ready room, Hoshi brings that last transmission, and like you were saying, he was pissed.
Yeah, I'm like, this man is angry as like.
Yes. And at first, and we were talking about this earlier, that he says, why don't you send the Vulcans? And then what'd you say though?
I was like, I don't think, knowing all the history of the Vulcans, that they would actually suggest that. I see why a human at this time period, having watched Enterprise, would think that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, he literally thought that the Vulcans could have been involved.
Yeah. I love the idea, like in a funny, like jumping, like saying, like the humans did this, the humans being like, "Ooh, they're fascinating. What happened to them?"
Mm-hmm. Well, but the Vulcans could care less because they don't think like that.
Yeah.
And so again, he's he wants help.
I do actually think if they had gotten that message and the humans were like, "Hey, something happened," I think the Vulcans would be like, "Fascinating. Let's go see." Like,
oh, absolutely. Yeah. If they would, and Hoshi explains what happened. She says the message never made it to Earth because of the debris in the atmosphere. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, absolutely. I guarantee you, if a Vulcan ship, if Earth, anything, if they would have picked up the distress call, they would have.
Yeah, they would have gone and
gone. Yeah, and given assistance, because even though
because the way they're asking for the Vulcan ship is the Vulcans have better warp capability at this point than humans do.
Correct.
Right? Yeah.
And that's what even T'Pol's talking about earlier at the very beginning, which is why didn't y'all ask us? Because we could have gotten there so quick. Again, humans and Vulcans at this time.
Yeah, so I think the humans, if there's just like a mystery and they think, well, they were pissed at us, maybe they just stopped responding.
Mm-hmm.
They're like, and they had also threatened to shoot anything out of the sky.
Yeah, and
so I could see them being like, are we just going into a trap if we do that? If they had gotten this message, they would have 100%. Oh, it's worth it. Go get the Vulcans.
But you know what?
Yeah.
I still think, now that I'm sitting here deconstructing this episode, if I was in charge back on Earth, and I lost contact with a colony, and I had access to another race that could get there in a reasonable time, man, I feel like they should have done that.
They probably should have. It is interesting. Maybe it's interesting because I'm also comparing. It's obviously not quite the same thing. Whereas no one started looking for Voyager until they realized Voyager was still out there.
Yeah, but
everyone's like, they're dead. Oh well, sorry.
Yeah, I mean, Voyager went into the Badlands, but still, I understand where you're coming from completely, but it's still a different time frames, time and different timeline where we're still so new in space. This is our first colony.
Although it's honestly also the way T'Pol is like, we didn't even know about this. Maybe if they brought it up casually to the Vulcans were like, why should we care?
Yeah, I hate to say it, as I'm now sitting here revisiting this episode, I'm starting to get a little, disheartened with the Earth at this Earth, because anyway, we could go down a rabbit hole with this, and I'll let the chat group go down their hole with this one.
I was just like, yeah, it is interesting.
It
Although
really is.
it would be like it's also if like any of them had like family members still there, it'd be like, can you go look for them?
Yeah. Hmm. And okay.
Yeah.
I'm gonna keep moving on because I I think we could
We could,
analyze this one
we
to
could
death.
analyze that one part of this so much.
Yeah, because because again, what you just said,
Yeah.
if the family members that were still left on Earth, if there were any, which I'm assuming there probably was,
Yeah.
why couldn't they have gone and petitioned? I don't know if it was
There's
Starfleet, but let's
there's
just
no
say United Earth.
there's no Admiral Paris
Yeah,
equivalent to be like
yeah. I mean,
no one was important enough to be like, where's my son?
yeah. I mean, they could have gone and petitioned. I'm going to say it's United Earth at this time. I
Yeah,
don't know.
that's
They could
that
have
seems
petitioned whatever the
yeah.
governing body was
Hmm.
and said, "Hey, let's contact the Vulcans. Let's send them out there." Now, obviously, we wouldn't be doing this review if that happened because we wouldn't
Yeah.
have an episode. But
They were
still,
like a ton of radiation. Here's some kids.
yeah. Well, and I'm going to move on now
Yeah.
because that's when they just they realized that the kids moved underground
Although
because
I'm actually now wondering. So it's like, did the adults also move underground before they died?
I'm going to say they probably did, and then
Yeah,
they just passed away because it
because
affected them.
yeah, because I was like, there were no bodies on the top, on the
Yeah.
overside.
Well, and they could have buried them, but
Yeah.
still, you're right. They probably did pass it. When they even
Mhm.
said they were dying, so
Yeah.
um,
I think the adults definitely died of
yeah,
radiation
they did.
poisoning.
They did. And so after we so after we've analyzed that to death, now we go back to sick bay,
Yeah.
and Fox calls Archer sick bay and informs him that Nadette's cancer is cured. But unfortunately, because there always has to be a B plot or a C plot to something, determines that Nadette and her son are showing microcellular decay in their endocrine systems. And he suspects it is due to contaminated underground water.
Hmm.
And he has no medicine to treat it. Which I just,
You can cure cancer, but you can't. I don't. Maybe it's just like we're so focused on curing cancer. It's like you can cure cancer, but you can't cure this.
yeah. And I wish they would have explained it more because he says he just, he has
I
no medicine to treat it. So maybe he just doesn't have what he needs
yeah,
to be able to
or even you know
to
what
make
they
it.
could have just said? He's like, I can treat them now, but if they go back, they'll just get sick again.
Yeah.
Which like
But he made it sound a lot more ominous, like
yeah.
he can't treat it.
Mhm.
And I'm wondering if it's more of he just doesn't have the ingredients to be
Mhm.
able to synthesize another,
Yeah.
an antidote for
Mhm.
whatever's, causing
Yeah.
the radiation. Um, and, of course, Archer was, he questions if moving to the surface would help, but according to DePaul, the foliage and the soil will be irradiated for another decade.
I mean, also,
So,
if the water is still
yeah,
has radiation in it, you would need water to fill the plant. That
yeah,
plant will have radiation. Like
exactly. And I did like this little, just this little funny line from Phlox. When and Archer says, how is she? And she goes, she's as disagreeable as she was before he treated her.
yeah.
I just, I'm sorry. Phlox is just a great character and a
Oh,
great
yeah.
doctor. Um,
He's like, I have not improved her disposition. You can go and talk to her.
yeah. And John Billingsley is just a superb, funny person
Oh,
to talk
so
to.
funny.
And I'm going to get a little off topic, but for a
Yeah.
second, but I mean, when I did my interview with him, he had me cracking up a lot. Oh, he's just so funny. So great actor for this part. And so, all right. So now we actually go to the situation room, which I learned the name of for this episode. And Archer and Phlox are they're sitting there trying to explain to Nadette and Jamin, that it's just no longer safe there. And of course, they think they're full of crap. I always like how they say, she accuses him trying to
Hmm.
gut them in like they did the ones before them. They just don't trust humans.
Yeah. Oh, God,
Um,
I was trying to remember what do they say when they're accusing them of lying?
Shale,
Shale.
Shale,
And I was like, I kind
you're
of like, they're like, I was like, we get, I was like, from your tone, I get what we're accusing me of.
Shale. You're all speaking Shale is what
Yeah.
he keeps on saying.
Hmm.
Um, and even to Paul, she's sitting there trying to convince them that they are not lying. And she points out, I mean, Phlox just saved your life.
Hmm.
And also she points out the fact that we're not human and we're
Hmm.
telling you this. But
Yeah.
again, they don't believe him. And, Archer tries one more time to try and convince her that Nadette is Bernadette and that she is one of the children of the colony. And he finds that photo of
Yeah.
her with her
I
mother.
did love the idea that her name, it's like the kid only really remembered what she was called more, which is probably the nickname.
Yeah,
Also,
I
isn't
like
that
that.
an adorable nickname for Bernadette? And I have a
Hmm.
friend named Bernadette, and I was like, why are we using that? Like, that's cute.
Yeah, you're going to start calling your friend Nadette.
Yeah. She'd
Yeah,
probably be like, the hell are you doing?
probably.
She was like, um, I'm only seeing her soon. I was like, haha. Well,
Uh-oh.
she'll be like,
Uh-oh.
everyone calls me Bernie. What are you doing?
Not anymore. You're now
You're now
been
in
dubbed
debt.
Nadette. And of course, Archer is just still so frustrated because he just cannot convince them. And
Mhm.
he's got 70 years, and I understand he's got 70 years of mistrust that he's got to
Mhm.
break through. And this is not going to happen overnight or in 44
Yeah, the
minutes.
problem it was compared to like other first contacts. It's not that they've never heard of humans. It's that they think humans killed their parents
True.
or
And that's, well,
grandparents in his case.
they flat out think humans killed their parents, their go
Yeah.
befores. Period.
Hmm.
End of story. And so, you know, he goes back to the ready room with the Paul and he's just, freaking aggravated as hell.
Hmm.
And oh my God. It's a Paul. Because, he's sitting there trying to, how are we going to make this happen? Of course, we hit relocation,
Hmm.
forced relocation. Ooh, not a good thing.
We're like,
Um,
no, 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 no,
yeah.
no.
Well, because Paul's like, stun grenades. And he just looks at her like, are you freaking kidding me?
You're
To
like,
Paul, he's like, I know.
no, we're not doing that. What the hell, dude? Like,
Yeah. And, and then again, she's questioning his idea of bringing them back.
hmm.
And she's got a point again, because she says, because he's like, they're humans. They need
Yeah.
to be around humans. And I did love how she points out, are you going to put them in school, make them do this?
Hmm.
And, they're going to be so out of their norm for them. They're
Yeah.
just going to be out of their element. And then I like how at the very end she says, if you do this, if you forcibly remove them, you will be destroying the Novan culture. And
Hmm.
of course, it hits, and he's basically has to admit again that DePaul is right, because sadly, as we have learned by this part in the series, DePaul is usually right for the most part.
Yes.
Uh, and so they leave the ready room, go back into the situation room where they are actually looking for another place, and Trip has got the map up and he's like, letting them know, where the radiation was and what was, where would be safe areas for them to move to. I think it was like the southern continent or something was a place they were okay,
Hmm.
to another place on the planet. Um, and so, of course, Jamin is like, get us back to the planet or we're going to kill your man. And so they get back in the shuttle pod, they head back down to the planet.
Time to
And
go
he's trying
home.
again.
Gotta pick up Reed.
Yeah. And again, he is sitting there trying his hardest to explain to them there are other, because they don't know about continents, that there are
Yeah.
other regions on the planet that are safe.
Yeah.
Um, and of course, the sun is still like Shale, you're gonna gut us. He's just, they're hard headed again, rightfully so. And of course, Travis being Travis, he freaking whips around and says, we're just trying to help you, and then turns back and pilots the shuttle.
And you're like, no, they don't know that, Travis. We've established this.
Yeah, they really don't. And oh my goodness, I kind of got to laugh on this next scene a little bit. It's not a good thing to be laughing about, but when the shuttle pod lands back on the planet, he finds the one spot that basically has the weakest, underground caverns and makes a sinkhole.
I had to rewind that because when it happened, I was like, wait, what the hell just happened?
And what's funny, because I just watched, with Allison, we just watched Breaking the Ice, and I was like, ha, another shuttle pod.
Yeah.
It falls in a hole. Except this time, Trip's going to have to build a rig to get it out because they don't have a Vulcan starship, snooping on them to use a tractor beam to get it out. And so, it falls in the crater. They're barely able to exit the pod. And so the crew starts making their way through the tunnels to get back to Malcolm. And obviously, damages and everything. As they're going through the tunnels, they hear someone screaming, and they come into a big, a hole down there, and they look down, and there's one of the Novans. It's got his leg is trapped under a log, and it's broken his leg.
Did they cause that with the sinkhole?
As Jamin says, he suspects that when their sky ship caused the ground to shake, it probably could jar something loose. When it probably did. I mean, that's a big vessel to come to a crash. It's gonna not vibrate some stuff. And so now though we kind of starting to build a slowly, but also very quick, because we only got about 5 minutes left in this episode, give or take. A trust relationship, as they're, Archer and them are trying to get to the Novan to rescue him. They try lifting the log. They can't lift it. It's too heavy. And he's like, give me my face pistol. And he's like, no. What are you going to do? You going to shoot him? And he's like, no, I'm going to help. And he's like, trust me. And he finally trusts him enough, gives him the face pistol, and cuts right through that log. And so, so finally there's some trust getting to be built between all of them. And and Archer is doing everything he can to show him that, like, we're not here to hurt you. We want to help. And so they finally make it back to, the main area of the cave. And yours, Jamin's like, get your man and go. He's like, we're done with you. Get the hell out of here. And Nadette, she is like, no, sir.
She was like, no, tell them.
Yeah. She's like, tell them. And, and they finally did. And she's like, she demands that he tells everyone Archer said, because she's like, we are all getting sick. We are not getting better. Yeah. And unfortunately, they abruptly, in my opinion, ended this scene.
It was weirdly abrupt. I rewinded it because I thought I'd missed something.
Yeah. Because, like, literally, she demands Jamin tell them.
And then we're back on the ship.
Yeah. I mean, there's very, very little.
Yeah.
So I wish I had access to the scripts sometimes. And there are places you can get scripts, but not all of Enterprise's scripts are online.
Yeah.
Or that I've been able to find. I do have a website that I can get, like, TOS, TNG, and some of the others.
Enterprise, they usually find transcripts, which is but that's just what's already in the episode. That's not gonna.
Yeah, I haven't found
access. What I'm wondering.
I know some people. I wonder if they have their scripts. I just thought about that. Anyway, so yes, for what they probably were running long or getting close to running long, and they had to just cut.
Yeah.
And so they cut back to the captain's dining, where we've got Archer, Trip, T'Pol, and Travis are all having a meal, and I did like how Travis is. They're always trying to quiz T'Pol, and I like how Travis is trying to quiz T'Pol on other past Earth mysteries. But the one I got a kick out of the most was when he asked her about Amelia Earhart.
I was like, I know what happened to Amelia Earhart.
Me too. She's in the Delta Quadrant.
Yeah. I googled where I was like on Memory Alpha. Judge Carter is also a real missing person, but
Okay, so I'm not gonna lie, I didn't know who that was.
Because I was wondering if that was like a Star Trek made up one, but it's not. American judge disappeared in the 20th century under mysterious circumstances.
Okay.
There was a map. But it's funny because I was like, Amelia Earhart is way more famous as a missing person than.
Oh yeah, well, and the fact that we've had her in Star Trek already, it just made it literally on the series that
there's a reason Star Trek's never done Joseph Force Carter as an episode, because people be like, who?
Exactly. I just love that because I had to put my notes. I said, but we all know where it happened to her. She got abducted by aliens and is in the Delta Quadrant waiting for Voyager to come and see it to say hi. Oh my God. Okay. Oh, I gotta get back on topic. Now, but what I did like is, again, Travis is so excited about how they actually became part. They are. Yeah. He's like, we became part of the Terra Nova history.
See, it's every time he has a scene, I'm like, he's adorable. Why not more? Like
him and Hoshi. Yeah, they were underused.
And it's very telling of the era. It's not great. It's the two characters of color. Ooh. I'm not wrong.
You're probably right.
Yeah.
Well, there were a lot of issues with the show in those themes at times. And it's not just that show. It's, I mean, not just that series. I mean, even
I think
Voyager got stuff wrong.
We're like, yes. And I think that era became, in general, around the world, became weirdly militaristic because of real events.
9/11.
Yeah. And so, I mean, definitely, maybe not at this point you would see that, but it definitely in the later seasons of Enterprise. Yep. This is a fascinating study, and what was going on in America at this time.
Well, and exactly, and that's kind of where my for me to wrap up my analysis or just discussion of the episode is just this one really explored the themes of cultural misunderstanding and human resilience, because they even talk about
humans love a mystery.
True. And they do, and they talk about this on this one, is that we misunderstand the Novans, and they're misunderstanding us, or the current, the Enterprise crew. And earlier in the episode, T'Pol, actually, I think it was T'Pol, makes she makes a statement about that humans are actually very resilient. And so I think it was during the mess hall, the dinner scene with everybody. And she's like, well, they probably could still be there because from what she found, humans are resilient. So I don't, unfortunately, as I'm sitting here reflecting on this episode, I definitely have I must be honest, some issues with it.
Yeah, it's I enjoy the episode, but when I analyze it, I'm like, I have questions.
Yeah. And talking with you about this is really, again, that's one thing I like about doing this, because it lets us sit there and chit chat and talk about, and then in the live chat I guarantee there will be discussion about this as well, because that area that I discussed earlier about the whole, why didn't they send somebody when they lost contact?
Well, especially where they're like, the biggest mystery. The thing is about actual big mysteries, like Roanoke. Roanoke has been searched extensively. We have
Yeah.
extensively searched the Pacific for Amelia Earhart.
Yes.
Like, I'm trying to think of any other missing person. I'm pretty sure,
Jimmy Hoffa.
yeah, we searched for that judge. I looked on Wikipedia. We searched for that
Yeah.
judge he was talking about.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, they didn't.
Like,
I mean, I've still, like you said,
this wouldn't make sense, but it was like, it would have made more sense. Like, it doesn't quite make sense if they had said, like, it would make more if they said they had asked the Vulcans and they weren't able to.
yeah.
But then I think that makes the Vulcans like too asshole-ish.
Yeah. No, you're right. And it's just, yeah. Overall,
Yeah.
I liked the episode.
Mhm.
I liked I liked how the Travis,
Yeah.
how excited
I
he
like
was.
the episode in general.
Yeah.
But when I analyze the backstory, it has some plot holes.
Yeah. It's got some
Yeah.
big holes and
Mhm.
some honestly, just some issues that don't make humanity look very good.
Yeah.
And until doing this, I hadn't even thought anything about it. But when you
Yeah.
sit there and re-listen to that tape and everything, or
maybe make it so like the Vulcans for some reason also have to travel 9 years at that point.
yeah, but unfortunately,
Yeah.
T'Pol she retconned that
Yeah.
back at the beginning when she says we could have gotten there a lot faster.
Yeah.
And I understand humans at this time, well, not just this time, even in today's, we are we can be very arrogant and hard-headed, and asking for help is
How dare.
not something that we like
Yeah.
to do. So, so do you have any final thoughts?
Like I said, I do like this episode. Like I said, I'm like, I don't understand that, but I do like what we see in the episode, and like I do like seeing the idea that they're still excited about a mystery, because that is very human.
Correct.
It is like there's a reason we love a theory about a mystery. There's a million theories about who like Jack the Ripper was, which I'm sure Star Trek has done, right? Somewhere. Maybe in a book. But and I think the performances were all really good.
Mm-hmm.
And I did like seeing Archer making it clear. Archer's frustrated because he was like, I need to get good at first contact. Oh my god.
Yeah.
Because it actually I was like, okay, this actually makes sense why he's so worried about this. But yeah, overall, I enjoy the episode.
Me too.
Yeah.
And I'm just gonna, say like you just repeat what you just said. If he can't make first contact with humans, his own race, then he has no business being out there.
Yeah.
At all.
I really like that line.
I did too. That was it. The writers got that. It was a good line by the writers. So,
and that's the delivery where it was really intense, and then he like softened it from Scott Bakula was really good.
Yeah.
Oh, Scott Bakula's a good actor. Shocking.
Well, that he is.
Yeah.
All right, Rachel. Well, thank you for giving me your time tonight to do this, and I will talk to you later when we do the Andorian incident.
Yes.
That's a good one. That's another good one. That's a real good one. So, all right, I'll talk to you later. You have a good evening.
Bye.
Bye.
For as little as $5 per month, you can gain early access to the full ad-free versions of all interviews, plus additional exclusive content by joining Patreon.